Welcome to Emtron Training Part 25. In this training tutorial, we're going to be taking a look at working with our air model mode. Our air model mode allows us to combine two different airflow strategies within our Emtron ECU programming and bias between either strategy as we'd like when we're running our engine. This gives us a lot of dynamic flexibility in terms of taking advantage of certain airflow strategy strengths and being able to plot them based on our engine's operation. We're gonna have a lot to talk about here for air model mode. Let's jump into a tutorial so we can check this out. Okay, so let's get started. We're gonna be taking a look at working with our air model mode within our Emtron ECU programming. Our air model mode allows us to combine two different airflow strategies into one and switch and bias between either airflow strategy and a three-dimensional lookup table. This gives us a lot of flexibility and essentially combining the strengths of two different airflow strategies into one and be able to run your engine. So the three most common ways that we can work with airflow modeling is having a relationship between either a mass airflow and speed density, throttle mass flow and map pressure, or throttle mass flow and a mass airflow sensor. Now you can combine all kinds of different other ways, but those are the three ways that I primarily work with my air model mode when I'm dealing with an Emtron ECU, and those are going to be probably the more common that you're going to find. Now again, there's going to be a lot more combinations. We have a lot of flexibility in the software, but sometimes the combinations don't make sense, and again, what I'm going to cover and talk about in this tutorial is just focusing on those three more common options or more common combinations that you might run into. So what we're going to do here is actually take a look at where we can enable our air model mode and understand how this is actually going to work. Now, that's going to be just the first part of it. There's going to be a couple other things that we have to understand when we're working with this to make sure that it's actually going to be accurate in terms of representing the air mass properly to the engine and making sure that our fuels deliver properly as a result. Now, before we actually jump in and talk about the location where we can find and turning on our air modeling, I do want to talk about the importance of making sure that you validate it, whatever the two airflow strategies are going to be, before you try to go and make a hybrid blend between them. Now, we know that there's speed density, we know that there's mass airflow, and we know that there's throttle mass flow. You're going to be picking essentially two of those to pair together in terms of the air mass representation for the Emtron and then biasing between them. The importance of having two airflow strategies track each other in terms of the grams per second representation of airflow is incredibly important. We don't want to find that one airflow strategy is completely deviating in terms of the grams per second registration of airflow from another. What's going to happen if we work in the air model mode and we transition from one strategy to the next, and we'll find that, let's just say we move from 20 grams per second in one airflow strategy. We tell the Emtron to switch over to the other airflow strategy, and that other airflow strategy is showing 15 grams per second. That's a pretty large difference. That's going to create a drivability problem when we switch between one airflow strategy to the next, and we need to make sure that we have validated both airflow strategies. Now, the most common ways we're going to be working with this is going to be throttle mass flow and the combination of speed density or throttle mass flow or mass airflow tracking, so those kind of relationships. We've already talked about in the last tutorial taking a look at throttle mass flow and how we can actually track and validate throttle mass flow to whatever the other airflow strategy is going to be. Essentially going into our throttle body area table, rescaling that, making sure that that's going to make sure it tracks your throttle mass flow is going to track to what your other calculation is going to be. Now in this particular example here, I have my engine idling right now. We can see here that my air mass final is 3.5, 3.6 grams per second. The map air mass, which is the primary means I actually have my engine running on right now, that's going to be showing what where it's driving the actual calculation coming from. That's about 3.5, 3.6, 3.7 grams per second. Now down below here, I do have throttle mass flow enabled. I've turned it on, but I haven't done anything with it yet. That's what we're going to be taking a look at here in this video, how to integrate the throttle mass flow. Now throttle mass flow is showing here 3.5, 3.6, or essentially 0.1 grams per second difference between the throttle mass flow and the air map or the air mass final, which is because we're running on speed density at this point. We need to make sure we have that tight of a relationship between our two airflow strategies, or else, again, if we transition from one airflow strategy to the next, we're going to have a rich or lean condition. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure we're transitioning perfectly and the airflow strategies are essentially laying on top of each other. Because whether we're measuring the airflow from a MAF or we're estimating the airflow coming from speed density or throttle mass flow, it should equal each other. It should match. There shouldn't be a discrepancy because airflow coming into the engine is airflow coming into the engine. It's just going to the means of either measuring it or estimating it. So we need to make sure we validated our... Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here. And you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.